On November 24, 2025, the Kaseya Center in Miami was the stage for an exciting NBA game. It was the red-hot Miami Heat against the struggling Dallas Mavericks. The Heat, who were at the top of the Eastern Conference, were really strong at home. Meanwhile, the Mavericks, dealing with injuries, were at the bottom of the Western Conference and looking for a way to turn things around. This game showed how a team with great momentum faced a team in trouble. It was a real test for Miami's consistency and Dallas's toughness. The outcome might have seemed obvious, but every NBA game is a chance for players to prove themselves, no matter what the odds are. The Miami Heat are one of the hottest teams in the league this season, truly showing amazing performance right from the start. They're not just a team that wins, but also a team that plays with high energy and solid teamwork in every game. Every player seems to have an important role, both starters and bench players, all contributing greatly to the team's success. With a record of 11-6 and 4 wins in a row, the Heat are proving their consistency at the highest level. Every win feels special because they always play hard and never give up, even against tough opponents. The amazing fan support at every game also gives this team extra energy. At home, the Miami Heat are almost unbeatable. With a 7-1 record against the spread, they often beat opponents by a lot. The atmosphere at the Kaseya Center is always electric, full of energy, and puts pressure on opponents from the start. The players really use their home court advantage to play their best. Miami leads the NBA in scoring and assists, showing how dynamic and efficient their offense is. They're also in the top 5 for three-point shooting percentage, which means almost every player can be a threat from beyond the arc. Their fast-paced play, accurate passing, and ability to shoot from anywhere often overwhelm opponents. Defensively, the Miami Heat are just as good. They're in the top 4 in defensive rating, and they hold opponents to the second lowest field goal percentage in the league. Every player is disciplined on defense, always active in closing out on shots, and often forces opponents to turn the ball over. This is what makes them a very tough team to beat. Even in back-to-back games, which are usually tiring, the Heat's depth really shines. For example, when they recently won 127-117 against the Philadelphia 76ers, the bench players performed amazingly and were able to keep the game's intensity high. This proves that Miami has a solid player rotation and is ready to play in any situation. With players like Norman Powell consistently performing and making big contributions from the bench, the Miami Heat have incredible flexibility. They can manage their rotations without losing game quality, even during a busy schedule. This ability makes them a dangerous championship contender and very reliable for the playoffs. The Heat's home court advantage, balanced offense, and solid defense make them one of the strongest teams in the Eastern Conference. With this kind of performance, the Miami Heat deserve to be called a powerhouse ready to compete for the championship title this season. This season for the Dallas Mavericks has been super tough, a journey that's been anything but easy. Every game feels like a mental and physical fight, where the players have to battle against pressure, expectations, and results that just aren't going their way. Their record of 5-13, with only 1 win in 5 road games and 10 losses in their last 13 matches, really shows how hard things are for this team. Fans are starting to lose hope, and the vibe in the arena feels heavier and heavier. The Mavericks' offense has been a major problem. They're at the bottom in offensive rating, and they almost always fail to make the most of their chances. Low shooting accuracy and a lot of turnovers make it hard for them to score points, even in situations that should be easy. Even when Klay Thompson played great, scoring 22 points in the last game, his effort still wasn't enough to get the Mavericks a win. Klay looked frustrated, and the team still hasn't found a fix for their offensive problems. But, even with all these problems, Dallas's defense has actually been their main strength. They've surprisingly made it into the top 3 in defense, holding opponents to a really low shooting percentage. Every player is fighting hard on the court, trying to cover up the weaknesses on offense. Unfortunately, a wave of injuries to some key players has made their defense in the paint weak. Their opponents are easily getting through the defense and scoring points inside, so the Mavericks are now the team giving up the 5th most points in that area. The Mavericks' only hope to stay in the season is their solid defense, but with their offense constantly stuck and the team getting thinner due to injuries, the chances of bouncing back and turning things around feel smaller and smaller. Every game is a mental test for the whole team. Now, facing the aggressive offense of the Miami Heat, the Dallas Mavericks are up against a really tough challenge. They have to find a way to defend, fix their offense, and keep the team's spirit alive in the middle of this storm of trouble that just won't let up. Injuries have really hit Dallas hard. Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, and Derek Lively too are all out, leaving the Mavericks without their main threats both inside and outside. The guard position is super thin, with Dante Exum out and other guards questionable, making their team really limited. On the other hand, Miami is getting stronger, with Tyler Herro ready for his first game of the season and adding more firepower to their offense. Even though the Heat have a few players out, their deep roster can always fill in the gaps. The difference in how healthy these two teams are is really clear, making this game lean heavily towards Miami. Expect the Heat's deep bench and returning players to overcome the short-handed Dallas team. The odds makers have made Miami a strong favorite, with a spread of 7.5 to 8.5. This shows the big difference in how the teams are playing and who's injured. The Heat's moneyline odds are really high, meaning they're very likely to win. Meanwhile, Dallas is the underdog with a low chance of winning. The total points for the game are set high, around 240.5. This expects Miami's strong offense to score a lot. But Dallas's scoring problems could make the total score lower than expected. The betting line is clear. Anything but a big Miami win would be a surprise. Bettors need to think about Miami's strength against the small chance of an upset from Dallas. Miami's record of 12-5 against the spread, including an impressive 7-1 at home, shows they don't just win, they dominate. These numbers aren't just stats, they're proof of the Heat's consistent performance in front of their home crowd. Every time they play at home, they bring extra energy, as if the arena's atmosphere gives them an added boost. Miami is also known as a team that's always ready for big moments, especially when the stakes are high. They've covered the spread in their last 4 games, with their offense on fire and their defense shutting down opponents. Their offense is super efficient, often turning opponent turnovers into quick points. Meanwhile, their defense frustrates opponents, forcing tough shots and creating lots of fast break chances. Their average winning margin at home is pretty close to the spread, and against a weakened Dallas team, that gap should get even bigger. Miami always plays aggressively from the start, often building a big lead before halftime. The amazing fan support is also a big factor, putting even more pressure on their opponents. Dallas, on the other hand, hasn't covered the spread in 5 of their last 7 games, held back by one of the worst offenses in the league. They've had trouble finding their rhythm, often turning the ball over at key moments, and their shooting accuracy drops a lot when they play away from home. The Mavericks' thinned-out frontcourt is really vulnerable to Miami's inside attack. The Heat have a physical advantage and deep rotation, so they can keep attacking the paint without getting tired. With Dallas missing key defensive players, Miami is ready to take advantage of every mismatch. The Heat's coach is also known for being great at reading situations, always finding ways to exploit the opponent's weaknesses. All signs point to the Heat not just winning, but winning big. With their momentum high, they have a great chance to add to their impressive home record. The 8.5 spread is a strong pick for bettors. With all the factors in their favor, the Miami Heat are a solid bet to cover the spread tonight. Even though Miami's offense is strong, picking the under at 241.5 points is a good idea because of Dallas's problems scoring. The Mavericks have gone under in their last 4 games, meaning they haven't scored enough points. Both teams have really good defenses, which can slow down the game and limit easy points. Miami's busy schedule might also make them a bit tired, and their scoring might not be as good. We're likely to see a close and tough game, with Dallas struggling to keep up. The mix of strong defense and Dallas's weak offense makes the under a smart bet. Expect a game with fewer points than the total suggests. With Dallas missing key scorers, rookie Cooper Flagg is their main guy. The prop bet, Flagg over 15.5 points, he averages 16.1 points and has gone over this number in 5 of his last 7 games. Injuries mean more shots and responsibility for Flagg, who has shown he can score in many different ways. Even against Miami's tough defense, his increased usage should help him hit the over. Expect Flagg to be aggressive and play longer as Dallas looks for ways to score. For a team that really needs points, Flagg's over is a good bet. The decision is clear. Miami's deep roster, their good health, and their home court advantage make them the absolute favorites. Dallas, dealing with injuries and a lack of scoring power, likely won't be able to keep up. The Heat's motivation and Tyler Herro's return only make their position stronger. Expect Miami to control the game from start to finish, winning by more than the spread easily. Final score prediction: Miami 125, Dallas 114. Cooper Flagg might shine for Dallas, but the Heat's offense and deep roster will be too much. Miami secures a convincing win, confirming their status as contenders for the Eastern Conference title.